Hey y'all. So today we are going to be looking at a sentence from page 65 of Farewell to Manzanar. Now, as always, let's look at this whole sentence and try to think about what the sentence is about. The sentence says, "It is the kind of thing that always happens when military men are in control." One more time, that sentence says, "It is the kind of thing that always happens when military men are in control." So take a second, pause the video if you have to, and jot down what you think this sentence is about. So if you need more time, go ahead and press pause. But if you don't, let's keep going. The first chunk says, "That always happens when military men are in control." Hmm. So, what noun phrase in the sentence is this relative clause describing? So, you're right. This is describing a kind of thing. So, which word helps us recognize this as a relative clause? The word that. The word that. Remember, some other words that can start a relative clause are which, who, and where. And we learned that in a previous language dive that we did together. Hmm. So it says that always happens when military men are in control. Can we figure out what military men are? So, military men are those in charge of a government's military. Now, the military includes armies, navies, and other groups that defend a country, especially during war, right? So we have our relative clause, we have our noun phrase, we have military men, and so the last part is in control. Now, what does it mean exactly to be in control? So, yes, it is to make decisions or to guide, right? And so that takes us to our sentence, right? So we broke down the second part, but the whole thing says it is the kind of thing that always happens when military men are in control. Now, what happens if we separate the two sentences? Well, first off, we will end up with it is the kind of thing, and then the kind of thing always happens when military men are in control. Now, the first sentence, let's jot that down just so that we know what we're talking about. It is the kind of thing. Now, it has a subject and a verb, but it doesn't really make sense, right? The kind of thing requires a description. In order for the reader to know exactly what it is referring to. Now, when you put that description in a separate sentence, it makes things choppy and harder to understand because the link between kind of thing and its description is more separate. Now, looking at the context, obviously, of the sentence in the book, what is Papa referring to in this sentence when he says it? When it says it. Using your context, you should have gotten that it was the attack on Pearl Harbor. So, how does this sentence help us to understand the causes of Japanese American internment? Now, obviously, your answers may be a little bit differently than mine's. However, because we mentioned an attack on Pearl Harbor, we know that it was an attack on America. And so the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, it caused the United States to see Japan as the enemy. And this led to fear and extreme prejudice against innocent Japanese Americans. And so when we think about how this sentence connects the significant idea that internment was created out of dangerous and unsupported assumptions. So when we think about the fact that it led to fear and prejudice, it definitely suggests that the military might be responsible. So we think about how this sentence connects to the significant idea. Um, well, it was Pearl Harbor. And so the attack on Pearl Harbor definitely led to a lot of prejudice against innocent Japanese Americans. And so it suggests that the military might have been responsible for making this dangerous assumptions based on fear and prejudice. And they become dangerous because they do lead to problems for our country and for Japanese Americans. And so think about the sentence one more time. It is a kind of thing that always happens when military men are in control. Look at what you first thought the sentence meant. Think about what we have talked about so far in this language dive. And what do you think the meaning of this sentence is? More time, the sentence is, it is the kind of thing that always happens when military men are in control. So now let's look at our practice, right? This is a sentence phrase. The sentence frame. So we have a noun phrase is the kind of thing that, and then a verb phrase. A noun phrase. Remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing, and a verb is an action, right? So, for example, prejudice is the kind of thing that led to Japanese American internment. So we have this idea, this concept, this noun phrase, which is prejudice, is a kind of thing, and then we add that. And then we have our verb phrase, which is an action, led to Japanese American internment. So take a second to practice creating your own sentence using this outline. If you have any questions, please make sure to contact your teacher. And if you need any support, contact your teacher as well. Please make sure that you turn this in as noted once you are done. Have a wonderful day, y'all.